And we, as part of our closing exercises, worked a little bit with spoken word poetry. So we wrote a spoken word poem to share with you guys, to kind of give you an idea of what our year felt like a little bit. Is that fair?
Yep.
Okay.
I hope we're gonna manage all my papers.
It's day one. I'm standing on the roof of my new home, and I'm staring at crumbling walls and menacing graffiti in all directions. Where the hell am I?
On the roof of my host family's house, I take refuge. There I dance and sit and write and sing, overlooking the colorful valley below, and surrounded by the sounds and smells of my neighborhood, La Lagunilla.
My house smells like laundry powder and dust and bike grease and wet cement.
As the squealing of the machine gets louder, the smell of the actual tortillas enters my nostrils, and I am salivating like Pavlov's dog.
I take the wrong bus, get lost, and it takes me forever to find my way back. Will this ever feel like home?
Francis was the first person to invite me to eat at her house. And when her girls who don't like beans ask for eggs, I realize she's offered me the only one she has.
I just came to Mariana and Esther's house for brunch, but after 2 card games, another meal, and a movie, it's getting really dark out and I'm still here. I have found a family to love.
My neighbor's dogs do not stop barking from 7 p.m. to 9:45 on a daily basis.
We hang out in the street at night with the neighbors, eating Jell-O and pumpkin seeds, and watching the kids play with a huge cardboard box on the hill. We talk about nothing at all.
We're flying north. And I know I'm supposed to be thinking of all the people who are also finding their way north to this unknown place where all they've got is some vague hope of the future. But we are flying instead of riding on the top of freight trains, and I can't quite wrap my head around that. In LA, all the noise and the sterility of the US makes me want to throw up. When we land in Tucson, I'm overwhelmed by a feeling of joy. 1,000 names of plants and people in desert towns that I used to know well fly through my head, and for my community members, this is an unknown place where all they've got is some vague idea of the trip we're on for the next week. But for me, I'm home. Back to the border, back to the no man's land frontera that once welcomed me and called me mija.
At a migrant shelter on the Mexico side of the border wall, we sit across the dinner table from a 16-year-old boy with haunted and distrustful eyes, whose name we do not know. He's the oldest child in his family, and he is heading north to be with his father, who has been working in Florida for the past 10 years. He doesn't know what the journey ahead will entail or what life will be like when he gets there. And earlier today, he was picked up by Border Patrol as he tried to cross the border wall, and now he's back here. He's out of cash, which makes it hard to either continue north or return home. He doesn't know where to go from here.
Hundreds of little white crosses fill a squeaky shopping cart. Each cross bears the name of someone who tried to cross the desolation, the desert, the border, the American dream's gatekeeper, a ruthless host who entertains only the ignorant and the desperate. I hold up a cross and I'm shouting his name to passersby, to Arizona, to my country. Felipe Hernandez!
Presente!
My friends cry back, and he is present in that moment. Not just because I'm holding his name up high on a cross, but because Felipe went around my wall to die in my backyard, and right now, I just want to tell someone about it. I've stopped counting how many taxi drivers I've met who used to work and live in the United States.
When I return home in the evening, my niece Montse, who is 5, runs down the street and jumps into my arms with a gigantic smile.
Julio is not stupid or lazy. He is 8 years old. But his teachers think he is, and they've convinced him that that's the truth. But it has become my mission to prove them all wrong.
Yola Xochitl is only 2, but she knows where every dish goes in our kitchen. I dry and she gleefully puts away. We're a good team.
Paco comes over all the time, and he and I are getting close. Only yesterday I found out he killed a man when he was 10 years old. Have I befriended a murderer?
I have my 3rd intestinal parasite. I think I'll name this one Shakira.
Angelica, Olga, and I drink coffee and eat breakfast together at work. This is the most important part of the day.
Everywhere I walk, someone is yelling out at me, "Hey, baby. Hello, my love. Good morning, beautiful." But I am none of those things to those people, so I started looking them in the eye and saying, "What's new, neighbor?" Shuts them up pretty good.
Christian has just summarized the entire political economic situation of Mexico in 10 minutes by talking about Coke and white bread. I teach this guy English. He teaches me a lot more.
In Mexico, more than 40,000 people have died in the war against drug cartels, and the violence seems to be getting worse. In March, one 24-year-old victim was found dead, wrapped in masking tape, in a vehicle near Cuernavaca. That young man was also the son of Mexican poet Javier Sicilia. Since his son's death, Sicilia has abandoned poetry to fight the drug violence. He is now leading a silent 3-day protest march from Cuernavaca to Mexico City.
Adelie and I are sitting in the square waiting for the march to arrive. And it is hot, and I'm tired and thirsty, and we're just sitting. I have become fixated on an effigy of the president that calls him the puppet of imperialism. There's a US flag hanging upside down. And I'm rarely proud of my country and the first to accept national blame for this mess that Mexico is in, but I still find myself hurt at the finger pointing.
Dear Amy, Annalie, Kat, and Sam, there's really no easy way to deliver this news, so I'll just get right to the point. I'm sending Polina, Catherine, and Kate home. I take no joy whatsoever in handing down these consequences. Catherine, Kate, and Polina are wonderful people. They've done incredible work here in Mexico, and each has been an integral part of our group experience. I'm grieving their loss for myself, for our group, for their work sites and host families, and for their larger Mexican communities. I'm also grieving for them and for the remainder of this Yagam year they won't experience with us. I invite you each, as individuals, to find a way in the next 36 hours to say your goodbyes in whatever ways make the most sense to you.
I look around at all these people, and I can feel their grief, fear, and passionate need for change. I think about the complexity of this situation, the way in which we were all implicated in it, and the apparent impossibility of change. Will the march change anything? How can we ever change anything? Can any of us ever do enough?
I just keep asking myself, is this accompaniment? If I'm only willing to go so far, do I really care about this place and these people? I want to throw myself in the muck of it all, where it is dirty and nasty and dangerous, but instead I am embroidering peacocks on tablecloths and drinking Coca-Cola.
It's a cold, dreary day in November, and I just found out that that new host family won't take me. I could punch a wall, but then Gloria shows up, and she gives me 4 beautiful mugs. It's for your tea, she says. I love her.
Vero kicked out her husband when she was 7 months pregnant. I don't even know what bravery is.
Concha says she's not religious, but she leads the community in praying the rosary every time someone in our community dies. Her faith is an inspiration.
On days when I'm homesick, Licha just knows, and she makes me pancakes and hot chocolate for dinner.
Angel is playing guitar, and I am singing into a cell phone camera previously referred to as a recording studio. If this is accompaniment, I still have a lot to learn.
Christy teaches me how to heal with caring touch through traditional massage. I don't know if she realized she was teaching me to heal myself.
How can we ever change anything? Can any of us ever do enough? Maybe it's enough to call their names.
Gloria,
Presente.
Cristian,
Presente.
Concha,
presente,
Angelica,
presente,
Licha.
presente.
Vero.
Presente.